And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Movie Entertainment with your Gotham review. That's right, it's Gotham time. I'm going to talk about Gotham. I was going to do Supergirl first, but I figured I'd just do Gotham first. I really liked this episode a lot. It was very cool, because once again you get to see the Mad Hatter again, and he was awesome. He's very different from what I expected him to be from either the animated show, which I grew up watching, you know, the Batman animated series. He was awesome in that show. I used to love him. He was actually my second favorite Batman villain in that show. I mean, the comics is a little bit different. I mean, like, you know, very different from what he is in the animated show. Because the animated show, he was, you know, he had mind control powers, you know, with, you know, playing cards, and he could just basically invent mind control. That's what he did. He invented it. And in this adaptation of him in Gotham, he's a hypnotist. He's just a hypnotist. He basically has a watch who can hypnotize people. And now he seeks revenge on James Gordon for what happened to his sister Alice. He blames him for her death, even though it was really basically his fault. But, you know, he's psychotic and crazy, so there you go. And, you know, he puts Jim Gordon in basically a game of cat and mouse. And that was very cool. There were moments where he had to choose between two different people, who to save, who not to save. He had to do that, and that was really cool. And then he had to save Valerie Vale, who came back in this week's episode, and of course he had to save Leslie Tompkins as well. He had to choose between which one he loved the most, because apparently, thanks to Barbara, she told him, oh yeah, he loves these two women more than me, even though he really loves me, but whatever. So she let him know about Leslie Tompkins, and obviously he already knew about Valerie Vale because Gordon's right now hooked up with her. And he basically kidnaps them, and now James Gordon has got to play a little game of, you know, hide and seek, find the mouse, all those little sick games that, you know, a psycho person will probably play. Like basically playing a game of like in, you know, Saw, just like that. Except, you know, he's not killing himself to get out of his torture. He's got to save other people from being killed. It's kind of like that. Cool episode. Very cool. I liked it a lot. We also got this episode with a little bit of the Penguin. Apparently, he was supposed to get a new love interest. Now, a lot of people didn't know if that was going to be anything. We have no idea. And then we find out he's actually in love with the Riddler. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I'm like, at first I'm like, that's different, but okay, I can see it. And then you see literally the Penguin just struggling to try to tell him, like, oh, I love you, Ed, I love you, la 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 la. He's actually, I think, in love with him. Now, I don't know which love they're gonna are they actually assuming that the Penguin's gonna be gay? Or he just loves him like a brother? We have no idea yet. He was just trying to confess himself. I'm pretty sure they're making the Penguin gay. I'm going to stick with that because, honestly, it sounds more interesting that way. Because if he's just going to say that, oh, I love you as a brother, that's kind of just weird for him to just be all panicky about it in this episode. Because he was actually sweating. He was very nervous. You know, how he usually talks like very weird. And he was just very, even weirder talking, trying to figure out the words to say to him. So, there's that. And, you know what? It's very cool to have a different kind of gender love interest for different characters. It's very different. I mean, obviously they have an Arrow. You know, you have Mr. Terrific. He's married. Obviously you have Sarah Lance. She's bi. Why not? Sure, make the Penguin gay for all we know. It doesn't really change who he really is. He's kind of psychotic, and he's also a genius. So yeah, sure, why not? I'm not offended by it. I actually dig it. It's pretty cool. Like I said, this episode was fun. It was just a fun episode. What I didn't like about this episode, though, was, I don't know, I felt like, okay, there's a moment in the episode, obviously spoilers, where the Mad Hatter takes, you know, Lee, and he takes Valerie. Now, obviously, we all know he was with Barbara at one point. I mean, figuratively speaking, you know, Barbara could have been on that plan, or maybe he could have just taken her too. You know, obviously that was his love before the other two came into his life. It could have been a three-way, you know, who do you love the most? Her. But I guess it was just only those two for some weird reason, but that's okay. But yeah, and also the whole boyfriend thing that was kind of clever, but I wish he, you know, it would have been more not as seen, you know, when you see him come into the room to talk to Gordon about where's Lee and why she got kidnapped, you kind of obviously know he's going to have a trick up his sleeve to try to take him, to go with him, to save them both. So, there you go. And obviously Valerie gets shot, so I'm like, wow, that was very strange. But yeah, it was a fun episode. I liked this episode for what it was. So if I have to score this episode, I'll give it a 6.5%. I like this episode. Wasn't exactly the best episode. I still dug it. And at the end of this episode, very, very strange. We had the actress, I keep forgetting her name, the actress who plays Kristen Kringle in the first 2 seasons. She came back, and obviously she looks like Kristen Kringle, obviously like that. The Riddler is standing in, like, apparently he's at a store getting wine. So he sees this woman, and she looks just like Kristen Kringle, obviously without the glasses. And apparently she's going to be a new love interest for him. So I don't know what that's going to be about, because next week's episode is about that. And Gordon's going to be kidnapped, I guess kidnapped, or has no choice but to go into a trap where the Mad Hatter wants to kill him. I don't know. But it looks interesting. I just can't believe the actress is back who played Kristen Kringle in the first 2 is actually back and playing another character. So that's kind of cool. So let's see what happens next week's episode. So stay tuned for my episode review of Supergirl, which will be coming up after this. So leave a comment down, let me know what you guys thought about Gotham. Did you like it? I did. It was fun. So far, so good. So far, Gotham is being very cool. Personally, I like Season 2 a lot better than Season 1, but let's keep our fingers crossed, see what happens. So, thank you very much, and have a good day.